Brian Ndoli. I'm a student in the bachelor's program, and today we are going to talk about different branches of the government and how they work. Uh, Before going furthermore, I would like to start straight, but let's first see how other people are talking about these branches. What are the three branches of government?
In the United States?
Sure.
Executive, legislative, and judiciary.
Okay. They look quite similar to ours. What does each branch do?
Okay, so the executive branch is made up of the president and his cabinet, so they have executive control over the government, although there's a system of checks and balances, so they don't have too much control. And the president is in charge of the military, as well as making large decisions considering the staff of that branch. The legislative branch is composed of the Senate and the House of Representatives, and they make and pass laws and revise laws. And then the judiciary branch enforces the laws through a system of Supreme Courts and then state courts and local courts. And they also have the power to change the law through their rulings.
Okay. One of the questions they are going to be all about the government of the United States of America. What are the three branches of the government?
The three branches, the U.S. government, the legislative, executive, and I don't remember the third one.
Okay, thank you. What does each branch do?
I know legislative is it makes law. Executive that protects the laws. I don't remember that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, now after when you have seen what other people are talking about these branches, today let me to also clarify some of these and their work. There are three branches of the government, as some of my street interviewers said. One of them is legislative. We have executive and judiciary. Okay, let's go and see one on one some of their purposes and what they do. Okay, now the legislative is made up of House of Senate and the Congress members. These are you can find them in the Senate, whereby they are purposely all their work is to make law and accept whoever the president put in power or recruit. So the executive member, no, sorry, the House of Senate is the one which accept or approve whoever the president of the United States appoints. Let's go to the executive. Executive is made up of the president, and the executive is purposely working on approving the laws created by the House of Legislative or the Senate House, and also recruit new members. The president is the one who's in charge of different things like the ministries. The president also is in charge of the military and different things in the country. Let's go to the third one, and that is the judicial. Judicial is made up of the judiciaries, all the judges, and it's led by the chief judge. These are purposely aiming at creating or at working hand in hand or at making sure that the law is working as it's expected. Now we are going to look at what some of the as I said above, the laws and the branches, laws of each branches, I've explained them above. Now let's go and see how do they regulate each other. When we're talking about the regulation each other, we're going to talk about the some words which are checks and balances. Checks and balances, this is a system. It is an important part of the Constitution. It checks balances from different parts, from different branches of the government, and it checks on legislative, it checks on the judiciary, it also checks on the executive. So it's reasons to check and see whether the balance between the three branches is equal. How does this work? For example, the process of how laws are made. For example, the laws can start as a bill, and first the legislative branch, the legislative can introduce the bill, and to introduce it to the president where he thinks the bill is good for the country. If so, he signs the bill, and when that bill is signed, it becomes a law. If the president does not believe that the bill is good for the country, he does not sign it. If the president fails to sign that bill, it is called a veto. But the legislative branch gets another chance. With enough votes, with the legislative branch can override. For example, when the House of Senate also vote that bill, many of them vote the bill, that bill can be approved and becomes the law instead of waiting for the president to approve it. Even though the president refused to approve that bill, it becomes the law. Now, once a law is in place, the people in the country can test it through the court. For example, the court, when it is introduced, the court also has the judicial branch also deals with it and see whether it is fair or unfair. A lawsuit can be filed. Lawyers then make argument and a good and against the case, and the judge decides which side has presented the most convincing argument. The side that loses can choose to appeal on the higher court and may evaluate reach the higher court or the Supreme Court. If the legislative branch does not agree with the way in which the judicial branch has interpreted the law, they can introduce a new piece of legislative and the process starts again. That's how check and balance of power can happen in three branches. I can summarize it. Summarize it like the check. For example, the legislative department introduced the bill to the president, and the bill, when the president sees that the bill is fit for the country, the president is going to accept the bill. If it does not, it says that it's not good, the president refuses to sign it, and we call that a veto. When the president refuses to sign it, the legislative is given another chance to see whether this law was supposed to be good. When the big portion of the people in the three-thirds of the people in the Senate accept the bill, it can also be approved. And if it is approved by the legislative, it is taken to the judicial court, and the judicial also were led by lawyers in different parts, those who accept the bill and those who do not accept. They also debate, and those who win, the judicial accept it, or if one loses, for example, those who do not accept the bill win, the judicial also refuses it. And if the judicial or the court refuses it, it is taken back to the legislative, and they reread it again, and they get another chance of presenting again. I think that's how there is balance of power in the three branches of the government. Okay, now I think we can go to another part of the project. This also asks about the question, Democrats and Republicans are the major parties. Can you name the third party? Okay, before proceeding, let's check on how other people are answering these questions. After that, I will come back and collect their
state courts and local courts, and they also have the power to change the law through their rulings.
Okay. Democrats and Republicans are the major parties. Can you name any other party in the United States?
The Independents.
The Independents. Okay. Democrats and Republicans are the major parties. Can you name any other party in the United States?
Rebellion Party.
The
No, Libertarians.
Libertarian.
Yeah.
According to the responses that we got from other people, I think we can talk about this. Now, in the United States, there are two major parties, and that is the Democrats and the Republicans. However, there are other minor parties which we call the third parties, and an example of that is the Green Party. Even though someone talked about the independent parties, it's not regarded as another party, because independent party is another word we can give for the third parties. Then we can talk about the history of these two party system. As we say that they are Republicans and the Democrats. You can ask yourself, how did they come? Okay. The two-party system started in 1796 when the first election in the American history started. It started by the two parties, and these were the Federalists and the Unfederalists. These Unfederalists, who later became the Democratic Republicans. The two parties named that reflect their most cherished value. The Federalists of 1970s attached themselves to the success campaign of favor of the Constitution, and they were solid supporter of the federal administration. Although Washington denounced parties as the holy, the party had the strongest support among those who favored American policy and the strongest support. As we say that the Federalists were attached themselves to the administration and the Constitution. On the other hand, the opposite party, who were the anti-Federalists, or who we can call the Democratic Republicans, suggested they were more fully committed to extending the revolution of the ordinary people. The supporters of the Democratic Republicans, often referred to as the Republicans, were drawn from many segments of the American society and included farmers, although the country with the high popularity among the German, they included many farmers. The Federalists wedged themselves as the friends of order and good government. They view their opponents as dangerous, radical, according to the U.S. history. However, on the other hand, the Democratic, despite Federalist policy, according to the Republicans' mind, New York newspaper, the Federalists were aristocrats endeavoring to lay the foundation of monetary government. As you said, you can ask yourself what are the effects that the third parties bring to the United States politics. Even though these parties are known for known, at some point they can affect the politics of the government. For example, these third parties, they can raise a point which at one point can be affected, can be criticized by many people, and The government of the major part, the candidates of the major parties can also be affected. For example, if someone from the Green Party raise a point whereby people or the supporters of these major parties are not saying, it can be seen, it can be discovered and can be criticized at one point. Another thing is that they can impact also who can be the president of the country. For example, in 2000, the leader of the Green Party or the candidate of the Green Party affected the votes whereby of the Republican, the votes of the Democrats, whereby George W. Bush won the elections. As you see, if this person enters the race, some people are going to vote that person. And those people who are supposed to vote one of the major parties are going to be, those votes are going to be deducted from the person and reduces the chances of that person to have or to win the elections. Okay, then let's see how a bill can become a law at one point. Yeah, you never know. Usually bills can be a law, and it can start as a bill and end up as a law. What is the best process by which a bill becomes a law?
I was stumped by this question the last time too, because I don't remember the exact ratio, the exact fractions of people that need to vote yes. I'll take a shot. So first, the bill needs to be proposed, and then it goes to the House of Representatives for a vote, and I believe it's 3/5 of the House of Representatives needs to vote yes in order for the bill to pass, although I don't remember that fraction very well. I think in cases where there's it's like between 2/3 and 3/5 or something, there's a range of like yes votes, which then doesn't allow the bill to pass, but then it gets passed on to the Senate that then votes. And if the Senate a certain percentage of the Senate votes, then the bill gets passed. But like I said, I don't remember the fractions very well.
Okay, thank you for taking an interview with me. What is the best process by which a bill can become a law?
It's really hard to answer this question, but I know maybe someone can say can raise up the points, and the points can go in under process from Senate to Parliament, so they discuss about the law, and finally they bring the law to the president's side. I don't know anything else about how they become a law.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Jean-Baptiste.
So welcome.
Thanks for the details. I'm very glad. Usually when the bill is becoming the law, it starts from an idea or from one of the members of the Senate. And the member of the Senate can introduce the bill to the Senate or the representative. It is sent to the clerk of Senate or someone who is in charge of the Senate, who gives it a number and title. Next, the bill goes to the appropriate committee. This appropriate committee is the one which is in charge to check whether it is right or not. The committee specializes in different areas. This committee can also be under those areas. So they are made up of small groups in the Senate. The committee may reject the bill, and if they reject it, it is never heard. And when they hear the bill or listen to its facts and opinions, they may make changes in the bill and cast the vote. If most committee members vote in favor of the bill, it is sent back to the Senate and the House of Debate. Then when it goes back to the House of Debate, the Senate and the House of Debate, they separate in the House of Debate and offer amendments and cast the vote. If the bill is defeated, it is either the Senate or House of the bill, or the House of the bill, it dies. Sometimes the House and the Senate pass some bills, but even different amendments in these cases, the bill goes to the conference committee made up of members of the Congress. The conference committee works out difference between the two versions of the bill. Then the bill goes before all the Congress for vote. If the majority of both the Senate and the House vote for the bill, it goes to the President for approval. And the President may, when it goes to the President, if the President sees the advantage or it is advantageous, the President accepts the bill and signs it. However, when the President declines to sign it, it becomes the veto. We talked about it above. And when the President refuses to sign it, it goes back to the Senate, and they see whether the majority of the people in the Senate accept the bill. When a 2/3 majority of the people in the Senate accept it, the veto is overruled, and the bill can become a law at that point. As you can see, this is the reference page of all the information that I've got from this presentation. Thank you for watching this video. See you again.